Attention passionate Philadelphia, EAGLES FANS. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC East and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Philadelphia Eagles' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Philadelphia Eagles fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with YOUR, FRINDS and Philadelphia, EAGLES FANS. Let's get to the news now, folks. There's a bit of a cloud hanging over the Eagles camp right now, and it's centered around one of their key offensive weapons, Devonta Smith. And you know, in the world of football, especially in a team like the Eagles that's been building for a potential deep playoff run, every little detail counts. So, when you hear that Devonta Smith, who's been such an integral part of Philly's offense, isn't practicing for 2 straight days, it raises some eyebrows. The team announced that Smith would be sidelined again Tuesday, and this time it's because of back tightness. Now, that might seem like a minor issue on the surface, but for a receiver who's been a vital piece of the puzzle, it's definitely something to watch closely. What makes this situation even more interesting is that it's not just Smith who's dealing with injury concerns. Zack Baun, who's been battling a back contusion, and Nolan Smith, who's recovering from a concussion, are also not practicing at the moment. This little cluster of injuries at the start of training camp isn't ideal, especially when you're trying to build chemistry and momentum as the regular season approaches. But let's put things into perspective here. Training camp is all about pushing through these hurdles, and sometimes these bumps in the road are just that, bumps. It's not uncommon for players to miss a few days here and there, especially early on in camp. Still, for the Eagles and their coaching staff, this is a situation that needs close monitoring. Devonta Smith, in particular, is a player that Philadelphia really depends on. Over the past few seasons, he's proven to be one of the most reliable and talented wide receivers on the roster. Last year, even with some injuries and a few missed games, Smith totaled 833 yards, which might seem modest at first glance, but considering the injuries and the fact that he missed 4 games, 3 due to injury and 1 for resting in the final week of the regular season, that's actually pretty impressive. Not only that, but Smith also scored 8 touchdowns last year, which was a career high and the most on the team. That's a clear indicator of how valuable he is in the red zone and for stretching the field. In the broader context of the Eagles' offense, Smith's role is absolutely pivotal. Last season, he and A.J. Brown formed a formidable duo, with Brown often being the primary target, but Smith's ability to make contested catches and gain yards after the catch makes him a constant threat. The Eagles' passing game has faced some criticism lately, especially with Jalen Hurts taking some heat for his struggles. But it's important to remember that a lot of that can be attributed to the overall offensive consistency, or lack thereof, and injuries that have plagued the unit. When your key receivers aren't on the field or are limited, it puts a strain on the entire offense. Now, the Eagles are hoping that Smith will be back on the practice field soon. The good news is, it's only been a week since training camp started, and it's still early in the process. Players often go through these phases where they have to get their timing back and build chemistry with Jalen Hurts and the rest of the offensive line. The coaching staff, led by head coach Nick Sirianni, is well aware of how crucial Smith is to their offensive success. They've seen his progression over the past few seasons, and they're obviously eager to have him fully healthy and participating at full capacity. Let's not forget, Devonta Smith has already established himself as a top-tier receiver in this league. His route running is precise, his hands are reliable, and he's shown the ability to make big plays when it counts. Last year, he was a consistent target for Hurts, especially in clutch moments. The chemistry between those two is something that the Eagles have been working hard to develop, and every rep counts. So even though missing practice days isn't ideal, it's not the end of the world either. The Eagles' medical staff and coaching staff are experienced enough to handle these situations, and they're likely to be cautious with Smith to ensure he's fully ready when the season kicks off. Another aspect worth mentioning is the overall depth of the receiver core. Of course, A.J. Brown is the star, and Dallas Goedert at tight end is a reliable target as well, but the depth behind Smith and Brown isn't as extensive. This means that every practice rep, every opportunity to build chemistry, and every healthy day counts for the Eagles' receiving core. If Smith manages to return to practice soon, it will give Hurts and the offensive scheme a much-needed boost, especially as they continue to develop new plays and refine their attack. In terms of the bigger picture, the Eagles are entering a crucial phase of their training camp. They've already faced some tough days, especially with the offense hitting some rough patches, but that's quite normal in August. The team's focus right now is on strengthening fundamentals, improving consistency, and making sure that everyone is on the same page. The coaching staff, led by Sirianni, has been emphasizing the importance of mental toughness and resilience. They know that a healthy Devonta Smith is an essential ingredient for their success, especially in high-pressure situations that will come once the games start counting. Looking ahead, the Eagles are optimistic about Smith's return. The team's medical team is closely monitoring his back, and they've been proactive in managing his workload. The hope is that he'll be back on the practice field sometime this week. And from there, it's about ramping up his reps and ensuring he's in peak condition for the season opener. The NFC East is shaping up to be more competitive than ever, with teams like the Cowboys and Giants making moves, so every advantage counts. Having Smith fully healthy and integrated into the offense will be a huge boost for the Eagles' Super Bowl aspirations. Now, let's turn our attention briefly to the broader implications. If Smith's injury lingers or becomes more serious, it could impact the team's offensive strategy. The Eagles rely heavily on their passing game, especially with Jalen Hurts' dual-threat ability. His ability to extend plays and find receivers downfield is one of the reasons the Eagles have been such a dangerous team in recent years. But with Smith potentially out or limited, defenses could focus more on A.J. Brown and the run game, forcing Philly to adapt. That's why the importance of Smith's health cannot be overstated. He's not just a receiver, he's a critical piece of the puzzle that makes the offense click. And let's not forget the history here. Since being drafted in 2021, Smith has shown steady growth, becoming one of the most dependable targets for Hurts. His route running is arguably some of the best in the league for a player of his age, and his ability to make contested catches in traffic has improved each year. The Eagles see him as a cornerstone for their future, and it's no surprise that they're eager to get him back on the field as soon as possible. The team's success this season hinges on health and chemistry, and right now, everyone is hoping Smith's back issues resolve quickly so he can continue to be a key part of what could be a deep playoff run. In conclusion, while the current situation with Devonta Smith might be causing some concern among Eagles fans, it's important to keep perspective. It's early in camp, and injuries are part of the game. The Eagles have a talented roster, a smart coaching staff, and a clear plan for handling these setbacks. Fans should remain optimistic, but also vigilant, keeping an eye on updates over the next few days. The team's resilience and depth are what have made them a competitive force in recent seasons, and this situation, while inconvenient, is just a small chapter in what could be a very promising story for Philadelphia. And now, Philadelphia Eagles fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on Devonta Smith's injury status? Do you believe he'll be back in full force soon? How do you see this affecting the team's offense moving forward? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Eagles. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Philadelphia Eagles news. Thanks for being part of this family, and let's keep the passion alive as we watch this team aim for greatness once again.